Right, just going to do a very quick video here. So, this is for the... hold on a minute, give it a sec. There we go, right, okay. That's a bit better. We don't need to make sure we shut that. Let's go open. Don't need to worry about that. Yeah, we're doing some installer stuff in a minute. But no, it's, wait, which one is it? Test, yeah. It's made. Basic return. Oh, which one was it? I'm pretty sure it was this one. Pretty sure it was this. Was it this one? Let's see right here. Yeah, this is it. Right, okay, so I'm basically doing this really quickly to demonstrate what I'm actually on about when I'm talking to my friends and stuff like that about this. So what we're going to do is very simple. We're going to do an Apollo styled mud mission. So from this, what you're going to see is the basics of how a vehicle makes it from the ground into orbit, and then you're going to see how you would burn from curbing to the mun, or you know, it's obviously nothing like what it is IRL. But here we go. So we're going to get this up to, so this is the velocity that we're travelling relative to the ground from the scene here. So from the surface of the ground we're travelling at 30 meters a second now. We're going to wait till we get to 100 and then we're going to start what they call the gravity tank. Alright, so come on, let's go a little bit more. Sorry if I sound a little bit out of breath, it's just, I'm trying to get in shape again, you know, so lifting some more weights and stuff like that. But yeah, 90 and we're 100 right. So now we'll start a gravity turn. We're going to get to about here, and then we're going to hold and we're going to let our little marker that you see here, that's the direction that we're travelling. So we're going to let that come to about there you go, that'll do nicely. Right, now what they do IRL is something that they call max Q, which is the maximum pressure for the atmosphere. So here, this is the altitude that we're at. The higher up that we go, the thinner the air becomes. So what they would typically do is they would slow down and they would probably bring it to about sort of here. So this is the throttle, they would bring that to about there. Something like that in real life, just to maintain a consistent speed instead of burning for an excessive amount of fuel trying to get high. But what we're just going to do here, because this thing has the thrust to weight ratio of a slug, we're just going to kind of let it do its thing. And as you can see, the rocket balloon here is expanding. That's because there's no more air pressure sort of pushing that together, so it will start to expand. And we're actually about to run out on stage. So now we're at 600 meters a second. So this is about, just under, this is around the speed of like a rifle round, something like an AK, something like that. And now we're starting up our vacuum engines. So those engines that we just dropped there, they were designed for sea level. This is designed for vacuum. So this means that its thrust weight isn't as good, but it doesn't need to be, because the burns that it's going to be making are a lot longer. So as long as it can get more speed out of its burn, it doesn't really matter a huge deal. And this is called the apoapsis. So this is the highest point. So this blue line is our trajectory. Okay. So this at the moment is what you'd refer to as a ballistic trajectory. All right. Now this, we're going to bring up the highest point in that trajectory to 150,000 meters, or 150 kilometers from the surface. So we'll bring that down. There you go. So now we're throttling down just to let the vehicle coast. We'll go in. Oh wait, we're in space. What the heck? I thought we were still in the atmosphere there. Right, so we'll bring that up. So that's now slowly creeping up right there. And we're about to hit the... so we'll cut off the engine. Now that'll do. So now we'll wait for a sec. So now we're going to wait until we get to our highest altitude, and then we're going to accelerate and try and push out this ballistic trajectory as much as we can to go around the planet. All right. So we'll wait for about probably 30 seconds, I reckon. That's normally the point that I go to. I go to about 30 seconds before we actually arrive at that highest altitude, or apoapsis. So we'll start that engine now. Actually, wait, we've got quite a decent thrust to weight ratio here, have we? Okay, we're just going to go ham here. It doesn't really matter too much. This is a very, very basic engine, to be fair. And now this engine. So we want. So at the moment we're outside the atmosphere. You'll see what happens when you hit the atmosphere traveling really quick. So that is our lowest point in our orbit. So that is in the atmosphere. The atmosphere, and this is about 80 kilometers. So we're going to drop this stage here and let that go and do its burny uppy thing as it hits the atmosphere. Now we have this stage here. Actually, well. There we go. Let them go. Happy days. Bob's your uncle. And let's bring out that periapsis, sorry. To, you know, that is an absolutely disgusting orbit. I really don't care. Right. So we've got our highest point in our orbit is 163 kilometers, and our lowest point is 141 kilometers. Now, say I want to circularize this a little bit better, just make it a bit of a smoother orbit. What I'll do is I'll time warp to about here, let my ship do a spin back to what we're calling prograde. And then we have retrograde, so prograde forward, retrograde backwards. So yeah, now let's forward a bit. We will do a little bit of a time warp because we're not going to need to do a huge burn here. So yeah, we'll whack that on. Oh well, actually no, we've got plenty of time. We've got 15 seconds. Right. Or just, as you can see, so now we're burning prograde, so we're burning forwards, and we're just slowly bringing that periapsis up till it's about the same as what our altitude is in the apoapsis. Bam, there we go. So this is what you would call a circularized orbit, or somewhat. It's not great, but it's better than it was. Right, so now we're going to our target. This is the Mun. Set that as target, go back to our spacecraft here. Right. So, this is our lander. I don't actually know if this has enough delta V. I mean, we're going to find out, right? We also need to push 1. Get our solar panels out here so this thing doesn't lose its power. And we're also going to get, we'll get Bill to do this. So, here we are, Bill. This is Bill. Say hi to Bill. Where's the door on this thing? Wait, oh, it's around the back, is it? Yeah, obviously it's around the back. Alright. These darn modded parts, right? Right. No, you need to get in. There. Right. Oh yeah, we have the free IVA mod, which is pretty sweet to be fair. Absolutely love it. It means you can see inside your spacecraft and stuff. Oh sweet, we've got a mug of coffee. Let's go. Right. So now we're in our seat. This is awesome. You can see Kerbin outside the window, and yeah, not too shabby. Right, now what our good friend Bill here is going to do is he is going to turn on these little RCS thrusters. So these are basically small rocket motors essentially, but with less science happening, I guess. And these are what you would typically used to do things like dock to an international space station or something like that. These are absolutely useless in atmosphere. although it's kind of crazy when you see them get tested, because they're actually crazy powerful. Sometimes these will use a mix of different materials. So sometimes they'll use, similar to how your main rockets work that we've used to get into orbit, this uses a liquid fuel and an oxidizer. Sometimes they do that, but they'll put it through a catalyst, so like just a mesh material, and it'll have a chemical reaction with that material, and that will, you know, produce a lot of thrust. Or I don't really know. I don't know a huge deal about these things, but these are RCS thrusters, and these basically just allow you to make little maneuvers. Come on, hurry up. Don't have all day. Got work on that, guys. Right, and we'll bring this down a bit. Now we're going to turn off our RCS, and we're going to use a reaction wheel that's based inside of this capsule here. This isn't a part that I've placed here myself, by the way, just want to make that perfectly clear. This is actually built into that. So we'll set that to target, face your target, there we go. This is our speed relative to that target. So we want to try and dull that down a little bit, because that's a little bit sad at the minute. We'll also go locks, because, you know, I'm a little bit fussy like that. I want to make sure that, you know, this thing looks... Oh, wow, this thing's quite ugly, actually. I mean, what a beautiful design by my incredible engineering right here. Right. So we're going to do a free return trajectory, which is similar to what they used during the Apollo missions. By the way, they actually had to do this during the Apollo missions. They undocked the lander from the spacecraft, and except I think they used just the command pod. I don't know, they didn't have any way of transferring people over, but that means that now they would have the ability to go between the two, although at the moment this one I didn't realise until after I built this doesn't actually have a doorway here, so these are just stuck together now, but Bill's in there nonetheless, don't really care. Actually, you know what, I'm just going to do the old cheaty transfer. We'll get Bill, transfer Bill, because Bill's an engineer, and really you would want a scientist in there, but we'll sort that out in a sec. Doesn't really matter a huge deal. So this is the mun, and now this is our direction of travel. This is an inclination. For some reason, I don't know why they call these normal and anti-normal, but you want that inclination to be pretty much bang on 0 if you're gonna head towards here and actually be in a smooth orientation around it. If you don't have a good inclination, you'll be sort of orbiting at an angle. So instead of going around like our orbit is laid out here, you'll be doing something like going at an angle. You'll be at an angle, so you'll be orbiting something like that if you've got a bad inclination. So after we've done this burn, we're then going to... I've also got to make my lunch as well. This is a really quick one. Actually, you know what, while I'm here, I'm going to show you my interstellar stuff that I've got installed, because I might as well. So this is Minmus. That's like a little asteroid that's captured around Kerbin. Then we have Eve, which is meant to be Venus. That has a tiny little moon. Moho, meant to be Mercury. Juno, meant to be Mars, which has its own little moon called Ike. We have Dress. No one particularly cares about Dress. Sorry, Dress. We have Jewel, which is the gas giant. And then you would have Elu, but I've got the Outer Planets mod installed, which gives you all of these extra planets to go and explore. But that's not it. So if I zoom out a little bit further, we also have the Tuna, Deb, the Calable, well, I forgot how to pronounce that. We have that, which at the moment I've actually got a mission to that in my science mode, which is pretty sweet. We have, then if I zoom out a little more, we have this one all the way out here, and all of these are apparently real star systems. It's a mod called Real Exoplanets. If you play this and you're interested, you can actually you can download it. It's on CCAN. Right, nonetheless, let's get back to our actual maneuver here. So yeah, getting to them is a little bit more tricky than what we're doing here, but this is a very, very basic. This is a very basic mission. Right, it's time to warp to our maneuver. See if the game explodes in the process. we end up like shooting past it or something, will we? Bam, bang on. You nailed it. Alright, good job. Do well. Right. Let's go. Well, yeah, we'll bring it just there. In all honesty, I'm not going to go full throttle. It's only a 1 second burn. I'll fly straight past it. So we're just going to gently give it a little tappy tap and shut it off about there. Squidge that in. Perfect. Look at that. Beautiful. So now we are nicely orientated for the next event, which is mun injection. So this is probably the easiest trajectory to get. So you'd be accelerating out. As you can see, this is what I'm on about when I'm talking about the whole how when you accelerate, your momentum carries on around the planet, because the planet's always holding you in place. If you go stupidly fast, then yeah, okay, you're going to get that. But that's not what we're going for here. What we're going for here, so this is not a free return trajectory. That would actually just throw us out of the Kerbal system. So what we're going to do is, let's see here, we drag that across a little. Yeah, so that's a collision course. We don't want that. There you go. So now it hasn't actually done it. What? I can't do the thing. Do the thing, bro. Hold up a minute. Give us a sec. Let me just finish playing around with this a little. There you go. So this would be a free return trajectory. I believe it would. Is it the right side? Yes, that's the right side, right, okay. So if we're on this side, this means that the planet is grabbing us, and instead it'll be pulling us back in again. Now the closer that is, the more heavy that braking is going to be, because the mun is going to be grabbing hold of us, and it's going to be trying to bring us back round again. Now, because there's no atmosphere here, we can have an extremely low orbit if we wanted to, and it wouldn't matter. We're going to set this for about 25 kilometers. We're going to set to orientate for that. We got 7 minutes until this burn would take place, but you're not going to actually see what I mean by this until we get out to it. I don't know why it's done that. Yeah, that is our mun escape. So because we're coming out here, we're going to meet that, and then that is going to slow us down, because typically if we weren't hitting this, this would be flying off over there somewhere. But because we're hitting the moon and we're actually capturing, we're getting what they would call a gravity assist off the mun, it would bring us into what we would call a free return trajectory that would spit us back out at a slower pace than what we were doing on the way there, relative to curbing, right? You'll see what I mean when I get there. Right. You know what? We're actually just going to go flat out on this one. There we go. 3, 2, 1. Start up. Beautiful. We actually have way too much double relief for that stage right there. I really don't care, to be honest. Right. So now we're burning. So we're burning prograde. Alright, so we're accelerating. But we're not accelerating towards the mun. We're accelerating to where it's going to be. So now we'll just bring that in slowly until we get to about... Woo-hoo-hoo. Nice. Right, let's see, what's that? Hey, that's pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. Right, so now we will set a maneuver here to capture. So now we're going to need to slow down. So this is the whole free return thing that we're on about here, okay? So now we're not going to be slingshotting off somewhere into the solar system, but we're going to be this. So this is the line of where, after what happens when we get spat out. All right, and when we get spat out, as you can see, we're still captured in the system. So we're going to bring that round So this is now, we're slowing down because now we're coming up to the Mun, but we're going too fast to stay around it. So we've got to get there, and then we've got to slam on the brakes. But you don't have brakes in space. What do? You burn the other way round. And now, we want to get that nicely circularized. Yeah, a bit like that. Yeah, something like that. That'll do. Oh yeah, beautiful. Right. Face our maneuver. So now we're in that. So now we're aiming to get there and to slow down so that we can capture in an orbit around the Mun. Once our rocket has actually spun itself around. Come on, azzy cuzzy. Now, there's something I want to say, and this is going to sound really silly. At the moment, relative to the surface of Kervin, we are traveling at 2,600 meters a second, okay? So that is, in case Liam is watching this, that would be from your house to Brandon in, that'd be about 5 seconds, something like that. Now, in real life, this would be a lot higher, like a lot higher, like significantly higher, all right? This would be, so just orbiting the planet, this would be 7,500, just orbiting. So not doing this whole lunar injection, stuff like that. Like, that would be 7,500 meters a second, or, 7.5 kilometers a second, which is quite crazy. So now we are pretty much in. Now you'll notice the mission, so the mission's up here in the corner. All right, it has only taken us 7 hours to get here. Now in real life, it took them 3 days just to get from Earth to the Mun. Now Kerbal is scaled down from real life by I think it's 8. What is it? 8 times smaller or something like that. And that's just generally to make the game a bit easier to play for people, because trying to do all this jazz in real life is quite difficult, and that's even with it being in a game. Alright, so now we're burning to slow down, capture that orbit around the Mun that you can see there, and that's going to come in. We're just going to slowly bring that in. Nicely done. Right, we're just going to leave it there. That should be good. Is that good? Yeah, that's good. That'll do. That's fine. Right. So now here we are. This is the Mun, and here's our little spacecraft here that we have made it to the Mun in, and it's taken us 7 hours to get there, which isn't too bad. So we're now going to transfer our guys over to the lander, which I'm pretty sure had enough fuel. I'm not 100% actually. Yeah, okay, good. I want to make sure we've got crossfeed disabled because we had issues when I was testing this last time. Right, so you want Jeb because Jeb's pilot. Jeb knows how to do things. Then we're going to get Bob because Bob's a scientist. Bob's your uncle, and Bill, the engineer, he's going to sit in the command pod. Going to bring this round. So this isn't 100% what they did during the Apollo missions because, well, in all honesty, they didn't take as many risks as what you're about to see. Like typically they would have burnt quite far away from all of this before they started up their engines, but Kerbals are these little suicidal maniacs that I have control of, so we're just gonna turn this engine on, and we're just gonna go boop, and move away from that a little bit. Beautiful. Now I'm gonna go free cam here, just so that the planet's below us. That's beautiful. And we're going to bring ourselves down. Not really too sure, to be fair. Bring ourselves down about... yeah, I'll do. I don't really care. Right. On the way, oh yeah, we want to make sure it's not sea level because there isn't actually a sea on the moon. I want to go to ground level, and we want to just feed it in. We're not doing anything too crazy here. We might go for landing in this huge crater because it's mostly flat. Not really too sure. Uh, 10 kilometers above the surface at the minute. So yeah, we'll probably aim for somewhere around here, I guess. So now, yet again, we're burning to slow down. So we're burning retrograde. Oh, I've already got the spot one aim for. I want to aim for right here. That's somewhere around here anyway. Let's see, how far off are we actually from that? Nah, a bit more. Oh no, I don't know if we're going to make it. Come on, we can do that, that's easy. It's only 300 meters a second. That's like, now we're about 45 ACP bucket speed. In case you don't know, that's a bullet from a handgun. Has this thing actually got, like, I hope this thing has the thrust away to get us off of the surface. If not, I'm going to be a little bit peeved. Right. Little landing, legs down, beautiful. We're just going to feed this into, yeah, we'll do about that, that'll be alright. 50 meters a second, or just let it drop. As we're falling, that is going to speed up because obviously, you know, there's no air on the moon. I don't know if you know that. Come on. We're 1 kilometer off the surface. So we're going to bring that right the way down now. And we're also going to go to that so that it doesn't spin us around. Still doing 20 meters a second, so we'll bring that down a little bit more. And that's 10, maybe. Actually, we're still 200 meters above the surface. Very gently, we're going to bring this in. Beautiful, right. So there we go, we're now on the surface. Right, we're going to get, you know what, let's get Bob to do it. Right, so Bob is going to be our brave volunteer to fall onto the moon. And Bob here is going to plant a flag, which we're going to call Mun1, and description we're going to put the more you know. Wait, why did I put a capital for that? The more you know. Happy days. Okay. Alright. Now you're going to watch Bob, jump. Now, that's not quite realistic in the sense of like, but actually, no, it might be, to be fair, I think, because I remember in one of the Apollo missions, they were messing around trying to see actually how high they could jump on the moon. And I remember one of them ended up landing on his backpack and he started freaking out because he thought he was going to die. Now we're just going to see, getting your seat, right, there we go. Wait, why are you guys wearing your helmets? Oh yeah, it's a lander, isn't it? It's a lander cam. Right, so now we are going to wait because this little command pod here is all the way over there and that's not really that good. So we're going to wait for him to come back around again. And now we're going to launch. We're going to launch just in front of him, actually. So, wait, which way have I got to pitch? Yeah, that's it, right. Right, so we want to go in that way. No, that way. There, right. Beautiful. And now, because there's no atmosphere, we can just hard accelerate into a gravity turn. So there's no, you can have an orbit around the moon that just skims, like, the hills. I'm not even kidding you. And I've done that before, actually, and it's quite funny. So now we're going to treat this. So this is the docking portion. So now you're going to see us attempting to dock, and you're going to learn a little bit about the basics of how you would dock to a target. Yeah, again, in real life they do these very differently because, you know, health and safety exists in real life. You know, these guys don't care. So. We're going to clear that, right? Yeah, it'll be fine. Yeah, it'll be alright. I just realised this video is going to be like the longest video on my channel. Oh, it's fine. Right. Oh my word, that is not what I wanted. Oh, that's way too high. Oh my word, that's outrageous. That's a bit much. It's fine, we got the fuel for it. I had to make sure it's, you know, like, it's better too much fuel and too little in it. So we're going to bring this to maybe 30 kilometers, something like that. So because we messed up there, we had to go retrograde to slow down. Right, here we go. Now this is obviously our target. We're going to have to do that after we circularize. And this is what I mean by inclination. I'm just going to learn a little bit more about inclination here. So here you go, pretty basic stuff. I'm going to spin this thing around really quick because it's capable of doing that because it's so lightweight. Well, it is now anyway. I mean, we've burnt through most of our fuel just landed and stuff, so. Yep. Right, 10 seconds till we hit our burn. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on, let's get it really precise. Boom, look at that. Oh, let's go. Right. A couple of other things I'll actually go over. So, our fuel, so this little number here, this is delta V. So this is the amount of movement in any direction that you can push onto the vehicle. So for us, we have 1,598 meters per second of delta V, which, yeah, it basically means I can push the vehicle in any direction that I want to that number, basically. That's how much velocity I can put onto the vehicle in any direction. So this is our inclination. So at the moment, this line is the command pod, the trajectory of the command pod. And as you can see, we are very off angle from that, which means we would skim past it. We're not going to get very close to it, are we? Because, you know, we might get close to it here, but then all the way out here, we're like miles away from it, aren't we? So we are going to bring that inclination in towards that command pod. So we had an inclination there of 3.3. Now we want to bring that back to a sweet, lovely, beautiful 0.0, which means degrees, we are going to be 0.0 degrees inclination from the command pod. So now we're going to warp. No, don't catch up yet, don't catch up yet, I'm not ready yet, I'm not ready yet. Okay, good, we're actually miles off. Got plenty of time. I've actually got to go make my lunch in a sec. I really hope I have time to upload this. If not, I'm probably going to buzz Mum and just go, Mum, are you going to be home when I go to work? And if she turns around and goes, nope, then I've got to turn everything off and I'm going to have to upload this tonight when I get home. So I'll start a burn in 5 seconds. Nice little timer down here. So that was how much delta V. So as you can see, that number's gone down a bit now. And that is that, right. So now we're going to let the command pod get as close as possible to us before we then decide, hey, I'm going to gun for it. And as you can see, this is now our speed relative to the side. This is one of the things I always say, speed is about relativity, all right? So relative to the target, we're only doing 30 meters a second. Relative to the orbit, so if the planet wasn't spinning, okay? If the planet wasn't spinning, we would be traveling at 539.7 meters per second. But the planet is spinning, or in this case the moon is spinning. So our actual velocity relative to the surface is 540 meters per second, right? But we're sticking to the target because, well, we want to be able to go home, and that's our way of getting home. So we don't want it to go too far past, because I've had bad experiences with that. So we're going to burn retrograde relative to the velocity that we have off the target. So we want to slow down how fast we're going relative to the target, okay? So we're going to bring that down because we're doing 10 meters faster than the target. And so if we slow that down, or we want to make sure that we're doing about the same speed as the target. So 0.3, 0.4. So we're going to burn quite hard towards the target now, which this is really overkill. Don't do this at home. Actually, that is really overkill. There you go. So we got a 200 meter separation there. The 0.2 kilometers. Now I will see it pop in. Where is it? Come on. Hold on. Have I got the thing turned on? I don't know if I got the thing turned on. No, I don't think I do yet. I have 50 meters a second towards the target. So now we're going to want to spin this thing to slow down relative to the target when we get close to it. So there you go. We're coming in quite quick. Target is, hold on, F4 in it? F4. There it is. There's the target. So there's the command pod. We're coming in quite quick. We're going to give it probably about 1 kilometer, I reckon. Yeah. Alright, so we'll go now. we'll start slowing ourselves down as we get close to that target. Oh, actually we slowed down quite a bit there. So now, here we are, now just under 300 meters away from the target. Beautiful. Slow ourselves down. Now, yeah, you can't really do this with the space station. You can do it in this case though. Alright, so if we go to this and we go, hey, could you face the target for us? And this thing's gonna do its spinny, very slow spinny, but still spinny jazz. It's gonna turn itself around and it's gonna face to the target. Now I don't actually believe that they do this in real life. I believe when they're docking to the space station that they quite literally just have to line themselves up with the docking port. But in this case, because we can, we're just going to do this. So now I will face the target again. And now comes the little RCS thrusters again. So we don't want to build up too much speed here. You know, we're only traveling a short distance, you know. So actually, to be fair, yeah, you know what, yeah, right. Now, a collision at 5 meters a second is going to do quite a lot of damage. How much mono brown I got? Oh, mate, I got tons of mono. Right. So now, come on. Come on. And brake. So now those thrusters are burning forwards, which slows us down. And now 60 meters away, traveling at 1 meter a second, so that's 1 minute. Not that I can be bothered to wait 1 minute. Yeah, in real life, this is not how they dock, because you have something called a soft capture and then hard capture. Soft capture is basically the docking ports connect, and then a hard capture is they pull together and seal together. In this, you just kind of mush them together, and it's like, yeah. So we're going to shut down that engine. Don't really need that engine anymore. We're going to transfer the crew. I don't know if you want to do that. Transfer these guys to here. Transfer to here. So now everyone is in there. There should be no crew in here. You transfer crew, no crew in part. Right, beautiful. So this now we're gonna select. Wait, control from here. Where is it? Where's the thing for that? Oh wait, we're already controlling from here. Yeah, okay, that's fine then. Right. So now, how do we get home? Well, it's a bit more complex, but we need to go burn prograde. But we're going to face this way. The reason why is not actually too complicated. It's because if we're going this way, we're slowing down relative to curbing. Let's see. Oh yeah, and now here comes the fun bit. So we can burn towards the planet. So in this case, we're gonna burn in towards the mun. Now we want to make sure that that does not. We want to make sure our periapsis, because we're burning slightly towards the planet. So we want to make sure that our periapsis is not going to actually collide with the surface. Because if it does, well, you generally tend to die. As you can see there, we are actually very much on a collision course. So let's add a bit more velocity to the situation. Oh, look at that, beautiful. Yeah, our periapsis is extremely low there though. So we're going to try and pull that out a little bit, and we're going to use that to set how we're going to re-enter curbing. So we're now going to be able to re-enter. You know what? We're going to go for a pretty gentle re-entry this time. So we're going to go 25. Yeah, 25 kilometers from the surface. So that's inside the atmosphere. The atmosphere in curbing is 80. We're going to turn to face that. we're going to be 4 kilometers away from the surface. So we're getting very, very close to the surface here. But in theory, we should be okay. In theory. We'll find out when we collide with the side of a mountain. I've actually got plenty of time. Yeah, no, I've got plenty of time. Righty then. Let's walk around. So radial in, radial out is burning. Radial in is obviously towards the planet. Radial out is away from the planet. And then you've got your normal and anti-normal, which is your inclinations. But we're not too worried about that in a minute. So, we're also about to find out what actually happens when you collide with air travelling at these stupidly high speeds. 300 meters a second is not actually that fast for a collision with air, but you'll get the gist. Now, if you remembered the velocity that we left to travel to the Moon, you're now going to see pretty much the same number as we re-enter, and this is simply just because we're falling that distance. So there you go. 29, yeah, 25, beautiful. And that is very close, but we should, in theory, just be skimming the surface here. As you can see, this is what I mean. When there's no atmosphere, you can just do wacky stuff like this. This is insane. Oh yeah, we're actually so close to the surface right now. This isn't time warp, by the way. This is the actual velocity that we're doing, and we are just 1,000 meters from the surface. I don't even think we're at our lowest point yet. No, we're not. Oh yeah, we're getting real close right here. I love doing this sort of stuff though. Look, you can actually see the rocks on the surface. No resistance, no air resistance here. But in theory, you could do this in real life. You know, it's not advisable, but you could, if you were crazy enough. I love doing this. This is always like one of the really cool things to do. Get into a stupidly low orbit around the Moon. Right. And there's our flag. 1-1. Beautiful. Alright, everyone is in that command pod now, yeah? Yeah, right. So now, we escape from the Moon, and now we head back to Kerbin. So we are going to be colliding with the atmosphere at, I think, a bit over 3,000 meters a second, if I'm right in thinking. Where is Kerbin? There it is. All right. And now, IRL, you would typically break apart on a normal, anti-normal inclination for re-entry. This is simply just to make sure that none of these pieces are going to fly back and hit the vehicle as you re-enter the atmosphere, because generally that tends to be quite bad for the health of the crew, having pieces fly through their face. Lovely. That'll be about fine. So we're actually accelerating as we fall towards the planet. So we're picking up more and more speed as we travel towards the atmosphere. So we're going to decouple probably about 100. I reckon we'll break apart from everything and get ready for that sweet juicy re-entry. Right. It is a little bit dark, I do apologise. Right. Let's undock the lander. We don't need that anymore. That can bugger off. We've still got all of our boys in it. Yeah, beautiful. Good. And now we're actually going to rotate slightly just so that we don't collide as we break away from this. Push 1. And there we go. So that is us now broken away from everything. Now, I've only got 2 parachutes on this thing, so we're going to find out here. Now, as I said, our we got a very soft re-entry. You can slam in to the atmosphere. However, because we're choosing a softer re-entry, it means that there's going to be a lot of heat on here for a longer period of time than there would be if we were just to slam into the atmosphere. But slamming into the atmosphere can just result in the killing of your crew. So, and now, because I've got all these mods installed, you're going to see the awesome effects that the Firefly mod has, which is just freaking dope. There you go. 3,100. Let all that just blow up. We don't need to worry about any of that anymore. Got all of our boys on board. If not, they're dead now. Yeah, no, everyone's on board. Okay. No, push that 480. Just get to watch it. So this is just from the air being compressed as we're re-entering. The reason you can't do this the other way around is because you melt, but we're compressing the air so much that it is literally turning into plasma, and that's what this is. A lot of people say it's fire. It's not fire, it's plasma, if you want to be scientific about it. And this shield here that we have, so this ablator stuff, this basically breaks off, and as you're traveling, as this heats up and gets so hot, it will break apart very, very slowly, and as it pulls away all of that debris, that ablator, that takes the heat with it. So yeah, it's basically cooling itself by throwing away the pieces that are boiling hot, essentially. But there you go. So that's re-entry. We've now re-entered the atmosphere. This part of the video is going to be really dark, isn't it? And now we're just going to time warp a little here. Now I don't know if 2 parachutes is enough to save the boys. I hope it is. Looks like we're going for a ground landing here. We are. Because we're a little bit crazy, yeah, we have got it set to ground. Because we're a little crazy, we're going to deploy these quite late. We're going to deploy these at probably about 1 kilometer, I reckon. Ooh. And then, so now we've got so much velocity heading down, but I'm not really happy with that, so I want to go a little bit slower. So how am I going to do that? Well, the answer is drop the heat shield, because the heat shield weighs, like, adds weight. So you drop the heat shield, and now you're carrying less weight. We'll let it do its little lag thing here. I don't know. It's just a heat shield, dude. Like, come on, man. The heat shield has no explosive material on board, but in Kerbal, everything is explosive, including the Kerbals. Wait, are they? No, they just sort of go thump. Right, and then, here we are, 4 meters a second impact, plonk. Here we are, back on Kerbin, now with our little mark on the mun to say, hey, wait, hold on, where's flags? This is where we've been, 1-1, there we go. So there you go, and that is the basics of how orbital mechanics works and how you would doctor something, and you know, la-di-da-di-da. Now you understand. Right, either way, thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed, drop a like. You know, if you're just kind of strolling on by, then just see what you think, you know. Take a look through the channel. Maybe click subscribe. You never know, you might enjoy yourself. Right, either way, I love you guys. God bless. And I will see you guys later, after I've recovered. Adios.